coming up on All Access.
Having that first opportunity, I'm really looking forward to it.
And be able to play with your kids and chill with your wife, like, it clears your mind for the next day.
What concerns you the most about the Miami Dolphins?
Just the obvious, the speed.
He'll just run it through the defense. There's definitely a guy we're going to have to be alert for it.
After a long offseason and 6 weeks of training camp and preseason, the Patriots are ready to kick off the regular season. Hello and welcome to Patriots All Access presented by GEICO. I'm Steve Burton. We are so happy to begin our 26th season of All Access and happy to have you on board. We're also excited for the Patriots to play real games. They kick off the 2022 season in one of their personal house of horrors, Hard Rock Stadium against the Miami Dolphins. And besides a very talented Dolphin squad, the Patriots will be battling the South Florida heat and humidity. So Coach Belichick has his team practicing in these conditions to get ready for the sauna on Sunday. Much to discuss. So let's kick things off with Dan Roach on the state of the Patriots heading into Week 1.
Training camp, joint practices, and preseason games are in the rearview mirror, and we're on to the season opener Sunday at Miami.
We're just excited to get out there and put it on tape and see what we can do and adjust and just play for one another. That's all it comes down to.
All right, welcome to Florida. How's it going?
The Patriots took an unusual path to South Florida as they flew down to Palm Beach Tuesday and practiced all week at Palm Beach Atlantic University, a Division II school without a football team, 3 miles from the Palm Beach airport and 70 miles north of Miami.
I mean, it's just us in there. We got in a hotel, it's just us. We bond, we talk, we have dinners, lunch, breakfast all together, and you kind of just get to spend a little bit more time because usually, we go home with our families and chill out.
As this team heads into the opener Sunday, the biggest concern from the outside looking in remains the offense and how it will look, minus the guidance of Josh McDaniels.
It's not going to be a perfect, clean picture right off the bat when something's new a little bit, but I feel like we've made really good strides in practice, in the games even, when you really watch the tape to see how close we are.
Meanwhile, last season, the Dolphins were 2-0 versus the Pats. And this season, Miami has added another speedster wide receiver in Tyreek Hill. Tua Tagovailoa will once again be at quarterback for the Dolphins. Last year, Tua threw for 2 touchdowns while running for another. Let's end with some optimism when it comes to the Patriots visiting Miami. Under Bill Belichick, when they play at Miami late in either December or January, the Pats are just 2-9. But when they play them early, September, October, or November, they're a respectable 7-4. For Patriots All Access, I'm Dan Roach.
All right, Dan Roach, thank you very much. Well, we are here in our Bob's Conference Studios with Mike Reese and Paul Perillo. Good to see you guys.
Great to be back.
Here we go. And before we put the preseason to rest, what were your takeaways?
Yeah, a little spotty. Obviously, much of the attention was on the offensive side of the ball, but I just thought, Mike, we've been around a lot of these camps together, watching this team, and it didn't seem the execution all around was as sharp as we're used to seeing it. And maybe that's because we're spoiled from watching Bill Belichick and him putting that team together that has been to so many playoff games and won so many Super Bowls. This one just didn't seem the same to me.
Yeah, particularly when I think of the offense, Paul and Steve, they made more changes than I thought they were going to make. Josh McDaniels leaves and you have Matt Patricia and Joe Judge in there. I thought it would be a continuation of what they were doing, the significance of the change and the learning curve that has come with that. I don't think we've been used to seeing that, Paul. They're still learning at a pace that they may have already entered camp in past years and already been at the point that they're sort of at now.
Right. Mike, you mentioned change, and I want to talk about this roster, the turnover of the roster. They kept 10 rookies this year. Surprise you?
Yeah, well, they
guys
did.
Are coming, guys are going.
I mean, I think at some point you have to try to make an effort to get a little bit younger. And I know that there's a lot of stalwarts that have been around, the Hightowers, the Collins, the Van Noys of the world that aren't around anymore. They're still, kind of long in the tooth overall. But to get some rookies integrated, I think the last couple of draft classes, I think, look a little bit more promising.
Yes.
That's how you get out of this, Steve. You have to find a way to get some young players, get them making major contributions, and then find a way to get those guys on second contracts.
And to sort of pull out what I thought was a key point that you just made, Paul, was the drafts prior to the last couple years.
Right.
Like, those are the guys that you'd hope would be developing into the core of your team right now. You don't have as many of those guys as you would have liked, right? So now you got to get younger. You got to invest in some of these draft picks. That's why they have 10 on the initial 53-man roster. And Matthew Slater had made this point. He was asked to compare this team to past units. He said, comparison is the thief of joy, which I loved it. And his point being, hey, we're a young team. We can't compare ourselves to anyone else. We got to appreciate what we have with this youth.
I want to go back to the offense for just a second. What concerns you more, the passing game or the running game?
Pretty much all of it, but the running game right now, to me, has been in shambles. And I know that that's part of what Mike talked about with the changes that they're trying to make. I think schematically up front, it's been a slow process for those guys. I think the offensive line has struggled sort of figuring out exactly how they want to go about these zone schemes, the outside zones that they've been trying to run. But the production just hasn't been there, Mike. Whether it's Damien Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, or anybody else, they just haven't looked comfortable trying to run the football. And I think that's what this offense wants to hang its hat on.
Yeah, everything Paul said, I put 2 exclamation marks at the end of it, and I would say the effect of that on Mac Jones is what concerns me, because this is a promising second-year quarterback. And I think about this time last year, how excited everyone was for the ascension that we saw in training camp, in the preseason. And we don't see that right now from him. Getting him comfortable, getting him right, to me, is a huge #1 priority for the Patriots entering this season.
All right, guys. Well, don't go anywhere because we got you a little later on in the show as well. We'll be back with more Patriots All Access right after this.
Coming up on All Access.
We go one-on-one with Patriots running back Damien Harris.
We're going to continue to improve, continue to lay the foundation, and just continue to prepare for Week 1 because we know it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough opponent. It's going to be a tough season.
And later, take an inside look at Patriots training camp.
Typically start planning training camp really the day after the last one ends.
We're watching Patriots All Access.
Patriots All Access is brought to you by Bank of America, the official bank of the New England Patriots. By Ace Ticket, where New England fans go for tickets to all their favorite events. Visit aceticket.com. By Pepsi, Patriots watching better with Pepsi. And by Putnam Investments. Putnam Investments and the New England Patriots, proud partners committed to an active game plan on the field and off.
And for the first time, the 2022 New England Patriots take the field here at Gillette Stadium.
This is the opportunity to dream of, a chance to show you belong. That's fun tonight. What do you say, all right? Come on. Just get in the huddle. Talk. Mission for the call. Good job. Get on the same page and go one play at a time. Just do your job. Don't be forget.
Get active, boys.
Clock at 4. Snap to Hoyer. Bouncing right. Rolling. Throw to the end zone. Caught by Burton. Touchdown, Patriots.
I'm Lauren Spencer with your Patriots Social Media Minute heading into Week 1. Regular season football is finally here, but before things got going, Patriots players spent their last weekend without football, celebrating greatness in a different game. Robert Kraft, Jawan Bentley, and Adrian Phillips, just to name a few, were among those in attendance at the US Open, taking in what was likely the last match for tennis legend Serena Williams. College football also kicked off last weekend, giving Patriots players past and present plenty to tweet about.
Devin McCourty, Rutgers University, the Rutgers University.
Josh Uche, Michigan. Adrian Phillips, the University of Texas.
And as schedules get busier, it's more important than ever to check in with our loved ones. But for Matthew Judon, that meant not only FaceTiming his mom, but bringing her in with him to his weekly presser.
What up, y'all? What's the deal?
With everything
I got my mama with me.
Hi, Mom.
Asking me no crazy questions.
That's all for this week. I'm Lauren Spencer.
Welcome back to Patriots All Access, everyone. Joining me now is Patriots running back, star running back Damien Harris. Mind you, let me ask you this right out of the gate. How excited are you to get the season started?
Man, I'm extremely excited. You know, all the hard work that we put in throughout the offseason, training camp, preseason, you know, it'll be really good to put it all together, go out there as a team and just establish our identity, you know, kind of set the tone for how our season's going to go. And, you know, we're just very fortunate to do what we do. So having that first opportunity, I'm really looking forward to it.
How do you feel the team is set going into week one?
We're still working, you know. We still got some time before week one. And, you know, with that time, we're going to continue to improve, continue to lay the foundation, and, you know, just continue to prepare for week one because we know it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough opponent. It's going to be a tough season. So, you know, we still got some work to do, and, you know, we're just going to keep on working.
Much has been said about the tweaking of the offense. Is that what the preseason is for?
Absolutely. I mean, it's what all this developmental time, like I said earlier, the offseason, you know, whether it's mini camps, OTAs, preseason, training camp, you know, that's what all this is for, you know, just to kind of prepare us for week one. Like I said, it's going to be a long season full of a lot of tough opponents. So, you know, with new things coming in, new pieces to the puzzle, we just got to put it all together and, you know, make it work.
You mentioned the word prepare. What about the heat? The heat?
Yeah, it's going to be hot. We know that. But, you know, we got to condition ourselves. And we just got to be ready to go down there and play. You know, whatever the conditions are, they are, and we're just going to go out there and strap it up and play ball.
With the development that you have made and the development Ramondre Stevenson has made, do you guys feel like you are a 1-2 punch with this offense?
You know, just two guys that show up every day, ready to work, ready to improve, and just ready to do whatever it takes to help this team be successful. You know, two guys that love the game, love what we do. And so any opportunity we get out there, you know, just like everybody on the field, you know, you got a job to do. So whenever we go out there, we want to do the job to the best of our ability. That way we can help our offense be successful and then help the team be successful.
You play off each other pretty well?
I think so. You know, we play pretty well together, but that's how it all needs to be. You know, not just me and him, but our entire offense. You know, we have to flow. We have to play together. We have to be connected. You know, all 11 guys on the field at the same time in order to have successful plays, successful drives, and a successful season.
Good luck down in Miami.
Sir, appreciate it.
You got it.
Thank you.
Damien Harris, I guess. We'll be back with more Patriots All Access right after this. Welcome back to Patriots All Access. Time to sit down with this guy. Coach Belichick joins me now. Coach, week one. So training camp's in the books. The preseason games are all in the books. You got your football team as it's constituted right now. What do you think of your team as you enter week one here?
Well, these guys have worked hard. I think we've obviously made a lot of progress in training camp. Certainly a long way to go, and it's good, time to start the season, time to start really competing, and see where we're at.
Some offensive players throughout the course of camp have talked about the growing pains with some of the new things that you're trying to do, which is expected when you do new things. Where do you think your offense is at right now as you get ready for Miami and you start actually game planning against somebody?
Right. Well, we'll find out this week and over the first few weeks of the season in every area, offense, defense, and special teams. So, again, making progress, certainly coming together. Where are we? I don't know. We'll find out on Sunday in Miami.
Why did you think it was important to take your team down to Miami and prepare for the Dolphins down there in South Florida?
Yeah, I just think we get a good week of work down there and whatever the climate is and kind of get used to it. And then, there's the first game is it's hard to game plan for because there's either so little information and so much other information that's not really current. But really what it comes down to is a lot of good execution, good fundamentals, and so I think a good week of practice down there will help us as much as anything.
You're sitting there, get ready for free agency, the draft and all that. Then you hear about Tyreek Hill is going in the conference. You're going to face him twice a year. You're probably really excited about that, right?
Well, he's he's certainly an outstanding player, and we see these guys every week, and at whatever position they play. So he'll be a challenge. Waddle will be a challenge.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a good job offensively blocking their defensive front and getting away from man coverage. But we see some of these guys on the Belestrator. They have an explosive offensive unit.
Going back to last March, down at the owners' meetings, there was a picture of you and Coach McDaniel before the media breakfast. What kind of impact do you think he wants to make with the Dolphins and make it his own as he gets his roster together?
Yeah, well, it looks like, Scott, structurally, they'll probably run the defensive package very similar to what they did last year. They have a lot of players returning from that. Josh Boyer is the defensive coordinator, so I'm sure that he'll continue down that path. They've been pretty successful with that. Offensively, I would expect it to be more of the San Francisco 49ers offense like they ran with Kyle Shanahan out there in San Francisco, and Coach McDaniel was a part of that. So, good, tough running football team that can run the ball, team it's hard to run against, and a big physical team, which is kind of what they were building towards anyway. But I think it's just more of the same now with Coach McDaniel's influence.
All right, you already touched on the unknown of Week 1. We got a pretty good Ace Ticket Twitter question of the week, and it comes from @XavierStrain. Wants to know about the uncertainty of Week 1. Is it hard to prepare for Week 1, or do you think you can get some things by because they don't know you, you don't know them? Not a lot on film.
That's the game. Yeah, that's the game. It's a lot of that part of it's a little bit of a mystery, but really the big part of the game is just the good fundamental execution. And I think you'll see games in Week 1, won or lost, but a lot of it's just fundamentals, just basic fundamentals, and then there'll be some situational plays at the end of the game, good or bad, that could swing that. And then there are always some explosive plays in the kicking game in Week 1, returns, block kicks, things like that. So, as all the teams are starting to cut down the roster, pull things together, get ready to go. Veterans haven't played a lot in any of the preseason games. I think the overall percentage for the league is under 25% of like what teams would consider starters. So a lot of guys will get a lot of playing time that they haven't had, and it'll be a little process for all of us to get our teams up to speed, coaches too.
All right, if you want to ask the coach a question like Xavier did, you have to follow the team on Twitter, @Patriots, #AskBB. Belestrator, you mentioned Waddle, you mentioned Hill. Going to take a look at anybody else?
Oh, yeah, well, sure. We got Mostert, we got Cedric Wilson. I mean, they got a whole group of guys.
All right, sounds good. Everybody hang tight. More Patriots All Access. We'll be back right after this, and then we'll have the Belestrator for you.
Coming up on All Access.
We'll take a look back at the #1 fundraising event for the Patriots Charitable Foundation.
I want to welcome you all back to Gillette.
But first, guess who's got Bill Belichick's attention on the Dolphins?
Keep our eye on right here. Just running through the defense, and makes a nice play to come back and adjust to a little bit of an underthrown ball. But sure, he brings a lot of excitement to the team, the fans, and definitely a guy we're gonna have to be alert for it.
You're watching Patriots All Access.
Patriots All Access is brought to you by Bank of America, the official bank of the New England Patriots. By AdCare, be recovery strong. Speak up, reach out, ask for help. Call AdCare at 800-ALCOHOL. And by Gillette Labs with exfoliating bars. Effortless shave in one efficient stroke. This player profile is brought to you by Pepsi.
Welcome back to All Access, presented by GEICO. As we've discussed throughout the show, the Patriots have finished their preseason schedule as well as training camp and eagerly await the beginning of the regular season. But before we look forward, let's take this opportunity to look back. In our first Do Your Job episode of the 2022 season, presented by Optum, we go behind the scenes at Patriots training camp and a look inside the training camp experience, which we are confident in saying it's not at all like your father's training camp.
Welcome
Welcome to training camp, my friend. For the next 8 weeks, those 2-a-day practices will get you back in shape. Working that other job in the off-season seems to have left you a little winded. Why not head down to the commissary and have a little something to eat? Or have a laugh with the fellas? Pay attention to the plays on that blackboard. And when we say watch film, we mean it. After a long day, why not relax in your room with no distractions from friends or loved ones for weeks on end?
Back in the day, training camp was a very different experience for everyone.
I went to camp July 5th and opened the season September 28th. It was 2.5 months of camp. It was good.
But today,
welcome to camp.
With the advent of OTAs, mini camps, and the year-round athlete, training camp has been cut in half. But the players aren't the only ones for whom camp has changed over the years.
You build it and they'll come, right? They'll be there.
And so the day begins.
So we typically start planning training camp really the day after the last one ends and talk about what went right, what went wrong, how we can improve, and also we really start planning as we visualize what it may be for the fans to experience that next year. Our motto is to create memories.
This is a nice place.
We've had food trucks here before, giveaways on the plaza. We have a lot of photo ops, quarterback toss. We have kicking games. We have the regulation goalposts. And then we have small little goalposts for the little 4-year-old, 5-year-olds who may feel special when they're able to kick the ball through the goalposts. And then, of course, we have autographs. We have autographs with alumni. We have autographs with our cheerleaders. Pat Patriot always here, and he is always a fan favorite.
Having a great time. Easy to get to, easy to park, easy to get around. You know, what else could you ask for?
You got 3 generations here coming out supporting the Patriots. A lot of fun. Fun day for the family.
I love the Patriots.
A lot of those activities end up being a full day for a family, and thankfully can exhaust a young boy or girl if they partake in all of them.
And people sure seem to bring their appetite to camp. In 2022, they consumed 1,250 hot dogs, 1,700 cheeseburgers, and washed it all down with 5,000 Gatorades and 7,200 Aquafina waters. Patriots Training Camp has also generated $45,000 to various nonprofit groups whose volunteers staffed the event.
It's showtime.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, Foxborough!
Another innovation is the show that starts before the players even arrive on the field. Hosted by radio personality Mike Riley.
Mike Sarge Riley, if you want. Go ahead, you can use that in the quotes. Have some fun with it. It's the brand, right?
You guys are in for a treat here today.
It's really cool to be talking in front of a crowd, to have that rush. Introducing the cheerleaders to everybody, introducing Pat Patriot, fan interaction. We do a daily interview segment.
Dan Roach!
Can we get a nice round of applause for Sarge and all the great things that he does?
Interacting with the fans. We'll do a contest daily.
Who led the Patriots with 9 receiving touchdowns in 2021? You get 5 seconds to go.
Randy Moss.
Last year, Randy Moss?
It's just so much fun, and to have everyone involved, to get them amped up, and make them feel very special to be a part of Patriots Training Camp. That's what we do.
Thank you all so very much. We love you, Pats Nation. Enjoy your day here at Training Camp. Thank you.
The end game is you win. They embrace you. They accept you. They like you.
As a member of the media,
Honestly, training camp's my favorite part of the year. I think it's the most productive part of the year if you're a reporter. One of the unique things for us as a radio station at WEEI is we do shows live from training camp up on the upper level of Gillette Stadium, on a balcony or whatever you want to call it. And it's sort of, in this day and age of the all-22 footage, the coach's view of the field, I see that from up there. So sometimes when you're in the end zone view, you see plays develop or not develop. And then sometimes I'm down in the regular media tent. You're coming off the summer, the off season, where obviously a lot of things have changed, and you get out here on the practice field and you have unprecedented, unique access to the team. I mean, you see more practice in 2.5, 3 weeks in the summer than you see the entirety of the season. That's really invaluable to a reporter. And then you mix in some of the interviews. I know it's a pretty hectic environment. There's 90 players bouncing around, but Stacey James, Vice President of Media Relations, he's rolling out a big backdrop so Mac Jones can do his press conference in front of it and the media gets everything they need. And then probably most importantly is they feed us in the press box. We have free food. Sometimes it's in-house catering, and then you also get some very nice days when they bring in fast food, and as long as there's enough of it for everybody, everybody leaves fat and happy.
Good, how about you? You see the mic? You see the mic?
And happy is a word that describes the players at the end of a grueling practice, as training camp provides the chance for families and loved ones to be close at hand.
Just being able to have him there and after practice, after a long day of practice, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, what's up, nephew? We saw him. He was quiet today. He was real.
Yeah, I think it kind of bridges, your home life and your work life together. Being able to have them watch you at work.
I feel like it's real therapy. So when they're here with you and when they're able to see you every day and you're able to connect with them and get the physical touch, physical interaction with them, and be able to play with your kids and chill with your wife, it makes it that much better, and it clears your mind for the next day because you have something worth going home to.
And remember, when you're at Patriots training camp, the field isn't the only place to find something to see.
This guy right here, Bill, he came in from Portland, Oregon. So he's got Coach Belichick right here and Mr. Kraft on his tattooed on his body. Dedication right here, unbelievable. Which a
Hall of Famer on my legs.
Amazing, Bill, unbelievable. Fans like him here at Pat's training camp, it's amazing, unbelievable.
One of the things that we did this year at training camp that seems so simple, but to me was really rewarding, is we did sign cards. It's really an opportunity for fans to write their own message, but I'll never forget, and I asked his parent if he would be okay for me taking a photo. His son wrote that I love Patriots training camp. So that young boy didn't really understand what he wrote, except that was the way he feels. But for us, that when we see that, and I showed that photo to a number of people, it really kind of puts a smile on our face because it's very rewarding that what we're doing has a real impact on people. By Lord, play fake, and a throw to the end zone, and it's caught by Waddle.
What's new about the Miami Dolphins? More speed, as the Dolphins added the game's most dangerous weapon in Tyreek Hill. Also new is their head coach, Mike McDaniel, who will be coaching his first game as an NFL head coach.
can there be a larger disparity in career win-loss total? No, it would be a bigger deal, I think, if Coach Belichick and I were on the field, maybe doing like an Oklahoma drill. But I don't foresee that happening. I don't think the fans would really pay for that.
Welcome back to Patriots All Access. Time now for the Belestrator. Couple looks at the Miami Dolphins. Coach, we mentioned Tyreek Hill earlier in the show. Got him first play, right?
Here he is, yeah. This first play of the Eagles game last week in preseason. Here he is down at the bottom of the screen. And one of the things that the Dolphins looks like they're going to really like to do is run the ball and then run play action off it. So here's a quick run fake. Tua sets up, and then just the guy to keep our eye on right here. Hill just running through the defense. And makes a nice play to come back and adjust to a little bit of an underthrown ball, but I'm sure he'd bring a lot of excitement to the team, the fans, and definitely a guy we're gonna have to be alert for it. And then they come back on a couple plays after that, and again, similar part of their offensive package. Again, the play action fake coming down here with Hill down at the bottom of the screen, coming across, receiver coming back across, misdirection play. So trying to get the ball, outside the formation, here, or there, and so Hill, Waddle, and they got a pretty good group of receivers there.
That's a pretty creative way to get the ball to the outside. Everybody thinks you have to go to a spread and we got to go shotgun and all that, but this is a condensed formation, and that's difficult for a defense to defend, right? A lot of crossers.
Yes, yeah, similar to what the Rams, had a lot of success with last year. Line up in close and then explode outside, right, or run crossers. So, a couple big plays there to Hill in the first drive last week against the Eagles. But the running game will be a big part of the offense here. Looks like the Dolphins are using 21 personnel like they used out in San Francisco. This is most of their plays designed to go to the offensive left, and then he sees the opening here and cuts it back to the right. Receivers, doing a good job coming in here and blocking, and kind of like what you said, Scott. You see just this picture here. You see a lot of guys in a very small space. So when the ball does get out there, there's a lot of space on the perimeter. That's
one block like that. Fullback helps periph that, comes back, peels back, gets the guy, and then he's off to the races.
All right, now you've got a one-on-one situation right here, and good running.
A lot to worry about. Passing game, running game.
They do a good job keeping you off balance here. And again, another example, different receiver here, but another example of starting all the action over here to this side, and then Tua booting it back out here. Cedric Wilson, we've seen plenty of him through the years.
And they'll boot him both ways too, even though he's a lefty, and that's sort of his predominant side.
That's right. So very explosive offense, some explosive players down there, and kind of putting it together with the San Francisco, run and play action schematics.
Best time of year, week 1, National Football League. Good luck this week, Coach.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
All right, there you go. There's your Belestrator. More Patriots All Access. We'll return right after this.
Patriots All Access is brought to you by Putnam Investments. Putnam Investments and the New England Patriots, proud partners committed to an active game plan on the field and off. By Pepsi. Patriots watching? Better with Pepsi. And by Dan O'Brien Auto. Come in to any Dan O'Brien Auto Group store today and get your awesome protection plan. Keeping it awesome.
I want to welcome you all back to Gillette. And we thank you for attending tonight's premiere and supporting the Patriots Foundation. The support, not just tonight, but throughout the year, helps fuel many of our initiatives that we provide to strengthen our communities throughout New England.
The Patriots kickoff premiere is your opportunity to meet your favorite New England Patriots before they kick off the season.
Hope you have a great night here tonight. I think you'll enjoy meeting some of the new players and some of the familiar faces.
All right, rookies, let's go. 16 of you. Come on up. Come on up.
Movie theater. Popcorn.
Popcorn 2.
It's your support of the Patriots Charitable Foundation that allows us the opportunity to provide resources to New England's hardest hit communities. Thank you.
We're grateful to be joined by more than 70 individuals who have consistently committed to bettering all of our communities. These individuals all include doctors, nurses, medical staff, the volunteers, nonprofit founders. Please join us tonight in welcoming all of our community champions. Let's give them a hand.
It's my pleasure to present the 20th Annual New England Patriots Ron Burton Community Service Award to defensive lineman Dietrich Wise Jr.
My father, who's a teacher, and my mom, who's a nurse, they always instilled in me giving back to the community, something that is very dear to my heart.
Welcome back to Patriots All Access in our Bob's Conference Studios. Back with Mike Reese and Paul Perillo. Before we even get into the Miami Dolphins, who are a very worthy opponent, we all know that, Patriots are taking an unusual approach, going down early. Why do you think they're doing that?
You know, it's interesting to me because over the years, Belichick has gone the other way as well, not really in Mike. How many press conferences have we been in when he doesn't even want to acknowledge the word weather?
That's right.
Let alone use it as an excuse. But I do think maybe you evolve. They haven't had success down there. You want to try something different. Maybe they have some different intel. You know, listening to Devin McCourty talk about the pregame. Maybe they just want to get a little bit more acclimated to the conditions and really get out of Dodge. There's a lot going on here in Foxborough. Just get down there and get your work done.
Well, not only going out early, Mike, 5 days early.
5 is unusual. They've done it in the past, Paul, about, maybe Thursday, maybe Friday. And I'm not sure a lot of people that follow the team might understand. Like, the technology that they're working with these days is different than when Bill Belichick started here back in 2000. All the players have these GPS devices in their pads. They have a sports science type staff member, Johan Billsborough, who has Bill Belichick's ear. Bill always talks about a mosaic. He uses that word sometime. All these pieces that he puts together to try to make the best decision for the team. And to what Paul said, I sort of say, why not? Like, look at their results in Miami in recent years. Try something different.
So will this help?
I mean, can it hurt? I mean, is it going to hurt them to be down there a little bit early? Like Mike said, they haven't had a lot of success playing down there in that heat, especially in the 1 o'clock games. The games I can even really remember having a lot of success have been Monday night games when it's not as much of a factor. So it can't hurt, Steve.
And now, it's not going to help you block. It's not going to help you tackle, right? Like, that's Bill's point all the time. But I think where it might help, Steve, that we might be overlooking is just the team coming together, right? Like, how do you bring a team together? Take them on the road, block out everything else. It's us against the world. Have you heard what the media's been talking about with your preseason? And maybe that is a way to help them in terms of coming together as a team.
All right, let's get into this Dolphins game. What concerns you the most about the Miami Dolphins?
Just the obvious, the speed, the athleticism at the skill spots, their ability to get to the edge, both in the running game and the passing game. I think they've improved. I think a lot of their questions center around the quarterback. Like a lot of other teams, they have a young quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa, who they're trying to get a little bit more consistent, Mike. He can't stay healthy, and he can't establish some consistency. If he does, watch out.
It was so interesting in the preseason. Tyreek Hill played 3 snaps all preseason. The first 2. 51-yarder, and then they go back to him the next play, and they're down the field, and they're scoring a couple plays later. And to me, that explosiveness is what would concern me the most.
How important is it to get off to a fast start?
I think it's vital, Steve. When you look at the last 5 games last year, the common thread in those 4 losses, Mike, was double-digit deficits early. I don't think they can afford to fall behind. Get that doubt. You mentioned earlier in the show about Mac Jones and his mental approach to these games. You don't want to fall behind and get those doubts creeping back in.
And one of the things about this game that fascinates me is, like, does preseason matter? Like, the Patriots, they want to tell you, like, it doesn't. The Dolphins, like, they look like world beaters in their final preseason game. We're going to find that out. But I think it does matter from this standpoint. Player confidence. Like, you want to feel like what you're working on has some positive results. So to the point you're both making, like, you got to have some fast start.
Whatever you do, you want to do well. Right. You don't care if you win or lose preseason games, but you want to be executing at a high level. Had they had more drives like the one they had against Carolina, Mike, where Mac is going 45 yards downfield to Nelson Aguilar, if that happened more often, win or lose, you'd feel a lot better about things.
All that being said, prediction time.
I knew he was going to come to me with this. I don't like the spot. I really don't. I think down there in that heat with all that speed, I can envision the Patriots getting worn down a little bit. The smaller linebackers they're trying to incorporate, I could see Miami running the ball more often than they did last year. They couldn't run the ball last year, even though they did so against the Patriots. I think Miami comes away with a win, 27-16.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Patriots in a low-scoring game. I think the one thing that we haven't talked about a lot is the Patriots' defense. Like I think they're probably a little bit better than people think, and I think they're going to find a way to play complementary, slow the Dolphins' offense down, play good defense, offense, special teams, and they'll get it 17-16.
Ooh. 1-point win?
Yeah, we're sweating it out at the end there, Steve, you know.
Like last year.
A lot of sweat down in Miami. All right, guys, good stuff as usual.
Thanks, Steve.
That'll do it for this week's edition of Patriots All Access. For Mike Reese and Paul Perillo, I'm Steve Burton. Have a good week one, everyone.